Okay, Daily Chumash Ravi, the fourth Aliyah for 6th of Kislev, November 26th. So, page 30, Vayelech Ruvain b'mek tirchitim. Ruvain took a walk at the time of the wheat harvest. Yim said Dudaim basada, and he found mandrakes in the field. Vayavei sam Leah imoi, and he brought them to Leah, his mother. And Rachel said to Leah, Tni na li miduda ebenech. Please give me some of your son's mandrakes. Rashi Yodalit, B'meik tzirchitim, at the time of the wheat harvest. He found mandrakes. If you look in the Tabra Chumash, there's different opinions of what it was. Some aphrodisiac.
Aphrodisiac.
Something like that. Something, but it was just a love potion. It was also a fertility drug, fertility herb. So he found, and he translated as mandrakes. Anyways, some say it was. We'll see in Rashi. Anyways, it tells us uncharacteristically that Reuven was the time. He was the time of the wheat harvest. Usually, the Torah doesn't tell you like. Meanwhile, at the time of the wheat harvest, this happened. It doesn't tell you that. Doesn't tell you like what's going on in the seasons usually. But the reason here the Torah does, it's recounting the praise of the tribes. It was harvest time, yet Reuven did not venture to steal by taking wheat or barley, but took only ownerless things about which no one cares.
How does he know about them? How does he know so much about these things?
What?
How does he know so much about these things? To pick them up, to even value them.
He was a smart kid. I mean, it was well known. It was a smart. So he picked them up, and so it's telling you it was a time harvest, and he didn't take wheat. He took something that nobody. It was a weed, that was came up on its own. That was not had no owner. He was a very ethical kid. Dudaim. Rashi translates as a sigli, violets. It's a plant, and it's called yasmin in Arabic, which they translate as mandrakes, but whatever. Probably a lot of opinions. Tesvav, Ataymer lo hamat kachteches yeshiva lakaches gam mizdibni. She answered her, is it a small thing that you've taken my husband away from me, and now you wish to take away my son's mandrakes as well? Ataymer Rachel, and Rachel said, Lachen yishkavi machalayla. Indeed, yes, I hear your point, meaning Rachel asked for the Leah, give me your son's mandrakes. I need a fertility drug. So Leah says, you've taken away my husband. Yaakov prefers you over me. Now you're going to take away my mandrakes, meaning
what are those?
Some type of fertility herb. Mm-hmm. And Rachel said, he will therefore lie with, okay, they had a rotating time, spending time with Yaakov. So Yaakov will lie with you tonight instead, in exchange for Duda Ebenech, in exchange for your son's mandrakes. Meaning, that's that was the arrangement of having multiple wives, rotating, and I will give up my time to be with Yaakov if you give me the mandrakes. This month, I guess. So Rashi translates Tesvav that tells us the grammar. You will take. You're going to take away my son's mandrakes as well. And to take away, you want to take away my son's mandrakes. Yona's son, meaning it's a question. It's like you want to also you're going to take away my husband and my mandrakes. And Yonas Muziel translates Valkachas as Ulamesav, which is the equivalent infinitive. Whatever. Okay, Tes Zayin. Yaakov came back from the field in the evening. And Leah went out to greet him, even though it was really Rachel's turn. by Tamer, and she said, Eli Tavai, to me you will come to tonight, Ki Sachar Scharticha, for I have hired you by payment, Bidudei Bini, with my son's mandrakes. Vayishkav Ima Balaylahu, and he lied with her that night. Rashi. I skipped to Rashi. Rashi, top of 31. L'chen Yishkav Ima Chalayla, he will therefore lie with you tonight. Shaliyah Yisashchivas Laila Zu. Rachel said, it was my time to be with Yaakov tonight. I'm giving it to you in change of the mandrakes. And Rashi ends off, because Rachel treated lightly to give up her time of being with Yaakov, a holy man, this is one of the reasons she did not merit to be buried with him. Even though you could say she didn't mean any ill will, but, whatever. Tazayin. Rashi, Sachar
What do you do with the mandrakes once you get them? What do I do with the mandrakes?
I don't know. I guess you grind them up and eat them, drink them.
Who eats them? Is it the male or the female or both of them?
I have no idea, but it's a good question. If you really want to go down a rabbit hole,
Yes.
there actually was a podcast for a year called the Parsha Rabbit Hole. And he did a whole deep dive into mandrakes and all the sources and the different things in history, a lot of folklore and all these things. That's if you really want to.
Well, maybe I should be looking for mandrakes then. Okay. Not for me.
So, Rabbi,
I'm
you
not
said
married.
One second. Sachor Scharticha, Leah said, I've hired you tonight by giving Rachel her payment of mandrakes. So that night, it says Leah laid with Yaakov. It says God, Balayla, who is unusual. Balayla, who is unusual word. So the he implies that God made that union produce Yisachar. Yud Zayin. Yes.
so. You said I missed it. You said that because she was kind, she got punished. What did you?
No,
say?
she gave up her time to Yaakov
Right,
in exchange for the fertility drug.
Uh-huh.
And it's saying she shouldn't have done that.
Uh-huh.
She shouldn't have offered that as payment for it, because that's too precious to be with Yaakov.
Okay.
And Mida Keneged Mida, she wasn't buried with him.
Yeah, but she's taking something away from Leah. I mean,
Right.
I don't buy that.
The point is saying is that he's saying she has to pay something of value for getting something from Leah. So
This is in a footnote below, and is this Rashi? It's saying
Rashi.
or somebody else
Rashi.
because it's not up above.
Mm.
Yeah, she treated lightly the privilege of lying with this righteous man. She did not. I don't know if I buy that. All right, I hear you, but no.
Yeah, that's what it says. Okay.
She could have.
Yes.
She treated it lightly by giving him up for a whole week. She gave him to Leah.
Right.
So she's.
It's a good question.
You're damned
Delve
if you
into
do, and
more.
you're damned if you don't here.
Right, exactly. She wanted. So what should she have done? Right, like what? So by the way, I want to point out, I don't know if this is. I don't know if when it says she was punished, it's not like she did a really bad thing and it's no excuse, and therefore she had to get a consequence. It's a little more subtle. It might have been that was what had to happen. However, there's indications by this happening. Indications is that, whatever laying together means in the grave, somehow showed that wasn't her relationship with Yaakov for eternity. There's a lot of symbolism here, rather than just like she was really bad, she had to get slapped on the wrist, she didn't get to be buried with him. You have to break, I think, down what's going on, and then to understand, what does it mean giving up the privilege of spending a night with Yaakov? Like, what does it even mean? And then what's the symbol? Whatever. You have to delve into it a little more than just Rashi's just giving you a very, very basic understanding. But the basic understanding can sometimes be very profound, but you have to unpack it. Anyways, Tess. No, we'll manage. Yud Zayin. The Yishmael Kim Aleah, Hashem heeded Leah's prayer, Vatar, and she became pregnant, Vatelid, and she bore Yaakov ben Chamishi, a fifth son. Yud Zayin. Yishmael Kim Aleah, God heeded Leah's prayer, since she strongly desired and sought ways to increase her number of tribes. Yud Ches. Leah then said, Nasan alikim schari, God has given me my reward. Asher nasati shevchasi liishi, that I gave my maidservant over to my husband. Vatikra shema Yisachar, so she named him Yisachar, which means rewards. Rashi, God heeded Leah's prayer. She was we said already. Yud Ches, Yud Tes. Vatar Leah conceived again. Vatel ben Shish Yaakov and bore a sixth son. Chaf by Tamer Leah then said, Zvadani likim oisi zevet toiv. Hashem has granted me a good portion. Hapam is bleni ishi. Now my husband will make his home with me, his abode with me. Kilati leishishvanim. For I bore him 6 sons. Vatikrish my Zvulun, and she called him Zvulun. Zeved tov, a good portion. Kitargumai chalak tav. Yizbaleni means he will make, comes the word beis zvul, means a permanent house, herbiger in Old French, a dwelling house, meaning from now on, Yaakov's main dwelling will be with me because I have 6 sons equal to all the other wives eventually. And after she gave birth to a daughter, and she named her Dina. Dina means judgment. Rashi, Dina. Our rabbis explained that judgment was because Leah judged herself that if I have a 7th child, a son, there's only 12 children, then Rachel won't even have 2 sons. She'll have 1 son. And she prayed that this child should be converted from a male to a female. Because if it'd be a son, then Rachel would be really less than all the other wives, with only 1 child.
Wow.
So she said, God, don't give me a son, give me a daughter. And God changed it in utero.
Wow.
Chav.
Actually, physically
I
impossible.
don't know when God changed it says God changed the embryo. I don't know what point.
Where do you read that? Where do you read that?
Rashi, Chav Aleph. Chav Beis. God took account of Rachel. God heeded her prayers. And opens her womb. Rashi. God took account of Rachel. He remembered Rachel. He remembered her merits, that she'd given over her secret signs to her sister, and that she was distressed that if she doesn't have a child, maybe Yaakov might divorce her because she has no children. She's not bearing children, and she'll have to fall into remarrying Esav, God forbid. Indeed, this actually entered Esav's mind when he heard she had no children. This is expressed by the Payat, by the ritual poet Rabbi Eliezer HaKalir, in his composition of the Shachar Samida on the first day of Rosh Hashanah. He says, Ha'admon kivad le'shleichala. The ruddy one, Esav, when he saw that Rachel had not given birth, he wished to take her as a wife, and she was shocked. She was afraid.
Huh?
What?
We daven?
Yeah.
Whoa.
Chav Gimel. Matar v'telbein. She became pregnant and she gave birth to a son. Temen, she said, Asaf l'kimas racharbasi. She said, Hashem has hidden away my disgrace. Chav Gimel Asaf. Asaf means gathered. He gathered my disgrace into a place where it cannot be seen. Similarly, we find hid away our disgrace, and we will not be brought inside. Have withdrawn their glow. Your moon's light will be not gathered, meaning gathered in my disgrace and put it away. Cherpasi, what's her disgrace? Because she was disgraced that she was barren. And people were saying about me that I'm barren. I'm going to end up being even more disgraced by having to divorce Yaakov, marry Esav. The Medrash, though, says another lesson, that when a woman has no children, she has no one to blame for her faults. But when she has a child, she can blame it on the child. Who broke this vase, this object? Your son. Who ate these figs? Your son. This would require more unpacking because it seems kind of petty. Like, God, what's this adding here, this medrash? Okay, Chavdalit. Atikra Shema Yosef. Later, she called his name Yosef. Yosef Hashem li ben acher, because God made him saying, I had one son, may God add another son to me. Rashi, Yosef Hashem li ben acher. As we said earlier, she and the other, and Leah knew Yaakov will have 12 sons. So she said, may it be God's will that this one, that the last son will come from me. Therefore, they were showing davening for one son, not for sons. When Rachel gave birth to Yosef, release me and let me go back to my home and my country.
What did you say, one son versus one?
Why didn't she say sons? Why one son? Because she knew there was only one more son from Yaakov coming, and she wanted to let that one be for me. Yaakov said to Lavan, send me and I will go to my place in my country. Rachel giving birth to Yosef. Interesting. Now all of a sudden, Yaakov, after the birth of Yosef, says, Lavan, I want to leave now. I'm done. I did my 14 years. I want to go. Interesting. Why? What's the correlation with the birth of Yosef? Yosef is known to be the counterweight to Esav. As it says, the house of Yaakov will be like a fire, the house of Yosef like a flame, and the house of Esav like straw. Fire without a flame has no effect at a distance. But when Yosef was born, Yaakov put his trust in the Holy One, blessed be He. Yosef's kind of the power of Yaakov, able to counter Esav. And he said, now I trust that I can go counter
So the last two sons came from Rachel.
Go back to Yosef.
Is that correct?
Yes, correct. Chavav 34. Tanos noshev yisladei. Give me my wives and my children, ashervadti escha, from whom I worked for you. Behein ve'elecha, and I will let me go. Kiati daita, for you know, es avaydasi ashervadticha, for you know the amount of work I worked for you. Chavav, Tanas Nasha, give me my wives. I do not wish to leave except with your permission. Meaning,
Lavan is doing something illegal here, but it works. He says,
when you leave your father-in-law's house, you ask permission.
Respect.
Respect.
He says, Nichashti. Lavan is
the fact, it also says Yaakov's words. He was just, yeah. You might think he was like, anyways, let's go on. But Chavzayin, Lavan said to him, Imna matzasi chen beinecha. If only I were now pleasing to you, Nichashti vevecheni Hashem leglecha, for I've divined that Hashem has blessed me through you.
We're not allowed to do that. What did he do to divine this knowledge?
Lavan was a sorcerer, a diviner. I don't know how he did it. Menachashis, you actually say some of those idols that Rachel steals later.
The Trophim.
Like the Trophim, they were his divining sorcerer tools.
And God permits this to be a fact? I don't understand.
Menachash, you see, I was divining. I have proved my divination that through you, blessing came to me. When you came to me, Yaakov, I had no sons because he sent Rachel out to do the water his sheep. Is it possible that he had sons and he sent his daughter to go do the shepherding? Usually a son does that. But now he has sons. He says later,